Hi, I'm Eileen Wyatt, and I'm here today at the Brooks Free Library. And it's a very exciting time for me because I have the distinct pleasure of not only meeting and talking with this very distinguishable group from the Cape Verdean Historical Trust. And I'd like to introduce you, first of all, to the people that I will be speaking with. First, I have Barbara Burgo, who is the moderator for the panel discussion that's going to be held in conjunction with the exhibit that's opening in June, and also the curator for the other discussion on May 5th, which we'll get to in a few minutes. And to my left, I have Shirley Gomes, and next to her is Al Rainio, and sitting there is Jane Martin. So thank you and welcome to all of you, first of all, for coming to meet with me today about this very exciting time. As you probably already know now, there's going to be a wonderful Cape Verdean exhibit opening June 16th at the Historical Society at the Brooks Academy here in Harwich. And there's a very good reason why it's happening. And Barbara, could you please tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, I'd be honored. Thank you for having us, and thank you, Harwich. It's a welcome home for me. We began discussions more than a year ago, actually, about bringing the full Cape Verdean history and culture, cultural awareness to Harwich. I mentioned when I do this that my grandmother is buried here. I used to visit her down on Main Street when I was a youth, a teenager. So I have warm connections. And when I came back to this area a few years ago, I realized that we have so much richness in this Cape Verdean community and the partners, the comrades, the residents of Harwich that have not been shown. So we started talking about our Cape Verdean culture, our Cape Verdean foods, our Cape Verdean languages, and we decided that we would try to host this wonderful exhibit right here in Harwich, where many of us are from, and it has been an excellent collaboration.
Thank you so much for explaining that to us, Barbara. And I know there are going to be 2 preview programs being held here at the library in May. And I'm going to ask Shirley, to my left, to tell us a little bit about the May 5th presentation, which is going to be held here, as I mentioned, and there's going to be a very special guest.
There is, and Barbara, who's our curator, is also the event planner for those 2 events, so that she can go into a lot more depth on that. I'm kind of the Harwich connection to the exhibit, and do you want me to do that now, or would you rather highlight the May events first?
We can do what you just mentioned and then go to the May events.
Okay. In June, and that will be almost a year since we first started talking to the Harwich Historical Society. We developed a memorandum for this exhibit, and it's a great home to tell the Harwich story. We convinced them that there was a story to be told, and what they asked of us, and I think this is very important, Barbara will give you more details on the Cape Verde Isles and all that she's collected from the Cape Verde Islands, but we wanted, as they requested, to be able to tell more about the Harwich people who will be a part of this exhibit. Some of us are right here, born and raised in Harwich for some 70, almost 80 years. I'm the 70s, he's the 80s. But, you know, we've got
Not mentioning any names, Shirley.
a rich story. No, we're proud of that. We really are. We're Harwich roots, Harwich natives, and there aren't we're an endangered species, really. But the truth is, if you look at the maritime history, you will find many Harwich seamen who were involved with whaling industry, fishing, farming. Lawrence Jason will bring into the story, Joseph Perry, and many more. And we had many Cape Verdeans involved as cooks on the merchant marine ships. One of them was Isidore Souza, who lived in Harwich, and Joe Gilmet, who lived in Harwich, so we'll know more about them. And if you look at the military, we have our heroes. John Rainio was pinned in Second World War in Italy, and his photo in history will be on display, as well as Clifford Peters, who died from from Harwich, Clifford Peters. There's a square named after him, and his mother was for many years a Gold Star mother in our Harwich parades, and he's related to Barbara, so you can, again, get much more detail on that. If we talk about the cranberry industry, again, the Cape Verdeans were very, very much involved with the cranberry industry, not only working the bogs, but many owned. They owned their bogs and sold out first to Makepeace and then to Ocean Spray. But you know, you'll hear about the men in Harwich who made the cranberry scoops that were so famous. Anton Burgo, Frank Piener. These two were great cranberry in the art of making cranberry scoops. And when you talk about art, oh my heavens, we have so many good Cape Verdean artists. Virginia Piener, her brother Edwin Souza offered old sketches of Harwich to Town Hall, so we have that as a gift. And really, when this all began, our research began as well, and we have learned so much, and this we want to share with the people of Harwich. So the memorandum we started with the Harwich Historical Society and the Cape Verdean Historic Trust is going to have a long legacy that goes way beyond our June to October exhibit.
That's key. Yes, it is. And Al, I know I spoke with you about a month or two ago, and you had a wonderful piece of the exhibit to share with me. And I know you have a few pieces here that you might like to talk quickly about.
Yes. The flag, of course, is the Cape Verdean flag. And then we have a couple tapes here. And this is the tour of Cape Verde Islands. Fortunately, I was there in August. I was able to visit Praia, Fogo, and I'd like to have gone further. I was there 3 weeks. I could have spent there months and months and do the same trip. However, I am going back next year with a group, and I noticed a lot of improvement from the Millennium Grant that we got, the $110 million. I mean, what they've done with it, and it's proven, because we just got another $60 million grant this past year.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So I got to meet the president. It was great. I'm watching TV now and watching what's happening here. Yeah. And over there, we had the president and 2 people walking around town with him. No one else. He walked around the community. It was just beautiful. It was the way life should be, and not the way it is now. When I watch TV, I turn it off, if it's not sports. But no, tourism is getting big in the islands. Each island has their own characteristics, like dirt, whether it's white, pink, or even black, like in Fogo with the volcano. So it is a beautiful island. I talked to people this morning. We over there. They were 4 hours difference, so we're talking every day. They're coming back next week. There's 2 of them coming back, and they want to be here for the museum. That's why they're coming.
Well, thank you so much, Al. And Jane, I know you are the Education Outreach Coordinator with the Harwich Historical Society, and you reach out, of course, to the schools. And with our new Monomoy district forming this coming year, it's going to be even more important that you bring some of these programs. Yes.
I also want to thank Jennifer Pickett, the reference librarian here at Brooks, Free Books Academy. She has done a wonderful job cataloging what existed in the reference collection and adding to it all the updated information that a Cape Verdean would want, or people interested in finding out beyond our exhibit, reading more in depth. And we just can't thank her enough for that. And then Barbara and Albert, myself, and Shirley, we've been visiting the high schools first, and then we're going to be going on this spring to visit the middle school and then the elementary school. And after that, the sky's the limit. But what's key here, and I'm glad that Barbara alluded to it, is this information is so important because it is the history of Harwich, and it is going to become a repetitive part of what students learn. Who these families were, who the people were, how they got here, their contributions, and the importance of the nation they've come from and how it has really turned itself into such a fine democracy. And so I learned a lot. Everybody's going to learn a lot. So don't hesitate to come to any of the programs and to the exhibit. We all have a lot to learn. It's very exciting, very.
Yes, it is. And Harwich is such a prime example of our country in general being a melting pot. And it's very important, you pointed out, to know the background of people and what they have brought to their community. And I think this is just a wonderful way to do it. And of course, we're speaking of the exhibit, which is going to open June 16th and go through October, I believe, at the Brooks Academy building. And the Historical Society and the Brooks Free Library have been in collaboration so that the two preview programs that I mentioned earlier in this interview that are going to be held in May will be held here at the library in the basement of the library. And I'm going to ask Barbara now to tell us about those two very important preview presentations.
I will gladly, thank you. The first one is on May 5th, right here, like she said, from 1 to 4. We've been so honored and blessed to have a yes, an affirmative from our own Cape Verdean ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Fatima Vega. She, of course, is in the embassy in Washington, D.C. She will be in the Harwich area. Hopefully, we get her to stay longer than just one day, but for at least that Saturday. She's honored and pleased to meet Cape Verdeans and friends of Cape Verde all over the Cape, all over the country, if people are thinking of coming down here as a tourist destination during the summer. We also are hosting on that panel discussion Dr. Richard Loban. Dr. Loban wrote one of the books that we have here, and he was my professor at Rhode Island College. That's where I had learned much about Cape Verde. I tell the students, if you didn't know much, don't feel badly, because when I grew up, I didn't know much either. We have learned that Cape Verde got independence in 1975, and so it is now its own republic, and this is where my inspiration has begun. And the other person is Dr. Manuel Deluge Gonsalves, and he is the gentleman who wrote the book Panu Papia Creole. That means how to speak in Creole. We are speaking Creole, which is the language of the land, the familiar language. Manuel has another connection here to Cape Cod and to Harwich directly. He is the cousin of Jane Henry Texera, who's her and her husband Hank are the owners of the Inn of Treasured Memories right here in Harwich. The other presentation that we will have on 2 Saturdays from that, same time, same location here, 1 to 4 at the library, is with a friend of mine named Lee Charlton. He is not Cape Verdean, but he was married to Francis. He lost his beloved wife last year, but it was the owner, the curator of her uncle's collection of the boats that he made. Her uncle was Joachim, we call him Pork Chop, Almeida, and he was a master model boat builder. There is a video presentation, a documentary written on him called American Treasure. And I would be remiss if I didn't say my inspiration here for this last 15 years of study and going to Cape Verde initially, and part of this collection that I'm showing you was due to the gift from the family from my friend, and you know him as Jolai Gonsalves. I came here to Harwich 10 years ago to interview him when he gave a presentation here right at the Brooks Academy Museum, and I warmly honor and memorialize Jolai with all that we do here.
Thank you so much for giving us an overview of the 2 preview programs. And please mark it on your calendar, May 5th, 1 to 4 p.m. at the downstairs room here at the Brooks Free Library, and that will be including the panel discussion that Barbara just alluded to with the ambassador to the United States from Cape Verde and also the other professors that she mentioned. And then on May 19th, there will be another presentation about the master model boat builder, or by the master model boat builder, I should say, Joaquin Almeida. And that will also be from 1 to 4 p.m. So please mark your calendars, and June 16th begins the actual exhibit at the Brooks Academy here in town. It's such an exciting time for all of us in the community to learn more about the people who make up our community. Thank you all.
For having us.
Thank you.